Ed Balls, was the defeat at Sheffield Wednesday last Saturday, was that the straw that broke the camel's back for Alex Neil?
I think Burton, Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol City, these were really poor results, and the team wasn't playing, and I think those games taken as a whole basically meant that barring a miracle, it's not impossible, but barring a miracle, we're not in the playoffs this season. So we had to ask ourselves a question which we did yesterday in the board meeting. We're determined to do everything we can to get us back to the Premier League. That means planning now for next season. We need to be up and running from the beginning of the close season for the transfer window. We need to get our new football structure in place. The question we had to ask was Alex Neil the manager to take us into next season? And we decided yesterday the answer to that was no. And on that basis, we decided to make the change. We told Alex immediately. We made the decision at about just before 4 o'clock. He took it with great professionalism and dignity, and we thanked him for everything he's done. Been a great servant for this football club. That Wembley playoff final, first half of the Premiership, the beginning of this season. But it wasn't working. We saw that in recent weeks. Now is the time to make the change, and we did it.
It's not just in recent weeks, though, is it? You know that there was a lot of protests here around Christmas time. Alex Neil was being booed. Should the board have listened to the fans then? Because it hasn't got any better.
Well, look, it's our job to listen to the fans and to make the right long-term decision for this football club. And there are some fans who said we should have made the change at the end of last season when we were relegated from the Premier League. And there are some fans who are saying today that we're wrong to sack Alex Neil, it's unfair, we shouldn't have done it. I think you're right to say there was lots of fans in December who were saying make the change. We thought hard about it in December, and we decided he was a really capable manager. He had turned things around in a season before. He had the confidence of the players in our judgment, and we decided we weren't going to do what lots of clubs do. We weren't going to be a Leicester City and just sack a manager. We were going to give him the chance to turn things around. And I've got to say there was a period in January where we thought that was going to happen. But then things have gone bad again. And we tried to do the right long-term thing for the football club in December, and I think we've made the right decision now.
It was a unanimous decision, according to the statement from the board, but the timing of it suggests that it may not have been unanimous at the start of the board meeting. Did a few minds have to be changed during that meeting?
There was nobody in the board meeting yesterday who argued against the decision at all. And it was a regular scheduled board meeting which had been planned for months to happen at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Look, after the game at Bristol City, the board members, like fans, like the players and the manager, were very down because it was such a poor performance. But we weren't going to make rash decisions on a Tuesday night. We waited for the board meeting. We talked it through. The question we asked was, who is the right person to take us into next season? Because that realistically is now our strategic focus, and we decided that it wasn't Alex. And the moment we made that decision, we communicated it to him. That he had a game press conference to do, and he did it. He talked about the future. After that, we made our decision and told him the decision, and as I said, he took it with great dignity and professionalism. But there is never a good time to make decisions. Every time you make the decision, it's going to be criticised for one reason, and the important thing is we decided yesterday to terminate Alex Neil's contract and to move forward to next season with this football club.
There's been a lot of sympathy for him, though, the fact that he was made to sit in front of the media and talk about next season and about today's game in the belief that he was still going to be the manager. So to put him through that and then sack him a few hours later, you can understand why a lot of supporters felt that was very harsh.
Well, I have sympathy for Alex Neil because he just lost his job. And I have sympathy for Alex Neil because he did some great things for this football club, including that Wembley playoff final. And when he went into that press conference, he was the manager of Norwich City Football Club, doing a scheduled press conference. There'd not been a board meeting. No decision had been made at all. Hadn't been discussed, the decision. We sat down after that and asked ourselves the long-term questions, made a decision and told Alex straight away. I mean, there isn't a good time to do these things. Alex did not say to us in any way, you've made the wrong decision or you've done it in an unfair way. He said, this is your role and the results have been poor and I accept this and I'm grateful for the support you've given me, and we thanked him for what he'd done for this football club. And it was never going to be a nice thing to do. There was never going to be a good time. And as far as the board is concerned, and I think the supporters, the issue now is, can we beat Blackburn? Is the structure we're going to put in place going to work for next season? Who is the right manager to bring in for this football club? Can we be up and running in May and June to make what will be quite big changes on the playing side? Can we use the second-year parachute payments to get us back to the Premier League? And that's what matters. And I have huge respect for Alex, and we thank him for what he's done. But there was never, ever going to be a nice way to terminate his contract. And the fact was yesterday it was terminated.
Has it cost you £2 million in terms of a payout? Because that is what's been suggested.
I'm not going to start going into the details of individual contracts. We've never done that, and we're never going to. The reality with football managers is when they come in and when they succeed, there are very big penalties if they move to another club, because you're always worried about managers being poached, and the quid pro quo of that, of course, is that in all of these contracts there is a payoff if they're terminated. But the stories we've seen in the last few months, and I can say this to you now, are completely distorting and misleading and absurd. You know, the idea that Alex Neil last summer suddenly had a 2-year contract or a multi-million-pound payoff. He had a 2-year contract from the moment he arrived. There was always a payoff in his contract, and what happened last summer was his money was cut from being in the Premier League to into the Championship, the same as the players themselves. And so this story which has been around, either that last summer we drew up a 2-year multi-million-pound contract, or that was in any way part of our decision-making process in December or yesterday, is frankly completely absurd. And maybe there's always a temptation for a board and to kind of do running commentaries on ridiculous stories, but you've got to get on with the job, and our job here is trying to run the football club well rather than responding to that kind of nonsense.
And just a final word, I know you've said about getting a new structure in place, and we'll see news on that this week, but I think the one position that most fans are interested in is the manager. Alan Irvine will do the job today. Are we going to get used to seeing him on the touchline over the next few weeks, or do you have a manager in mind? Do you know who you're going to go and get now?
Well, Alan Irvine is the caretaker manager, certainly for today and for next week. We've not put a time limit on that because we want to make sure we get the structural changes in place, a bigger focus on the football and recruitment and the academy side, as well as bringing in the new manager as part of that. Lots of speculation about names today. Of course people are going to speculate, but the idea there is any hidden plan here or a conversation's been had or we've got a target is all garbage, and those kind of stories are inevitable, but they're all untrue. What we're going to do is work hard to make sure we get the structure right on the football side and bring in the best manager we can, who's consistent with the way we play and the values of this club, but with the ambition and the track record to get us back to the Premier League. And we'll take our time, but by moving yesterday, we've now given ourselves quite a few weeks in order to do that. And I should say to you as well, talking about other garbage stories, we're looking forward to Wes Hoolahan playing for this football club next season in his testimonial year. The idea in the papers today that somehow an issue about Wes Hoolahan was in any way material to our decision making is absurd. It's just nonsense.
Well, thank you for talking to us.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you.